how to clean a wheel. First things first, if you have any big scraps, you might want to keep them and recycle them yourself. You can either put them back in your clay bag. You can make them into a little arch or rainbow shape, let them dry out for a little bit, and then put them back in your clay bag. You can put them on a sheet of plaster to let them dry out a little bit and then reuse them. So you have a couple options for reusing them. Or if you just don't want it, you can put this in with the buckets that your throwing water will go into. So I usually recommend taking care of the big pieces first, putting them where you need it. Then you're gonna take your splash pans, you're gonna dump them into your throwing water bucket, and we're gonna do a dirty wipe down of our entire wheel. So to do my dirty wipe down, I'm going to use my little sponge and my dirty throwing water. I'm going to wipe off as much clay from my splash pans, from my wheel, from my tools, from everything. I'm going to try to get as much clay as I can off of my tools and into this bucket. This bucket is not going to go down the sink. It is very easy for clay to clog the pipes, and we don't want that to happen. So we're just going to start wiping this down, trying to get as much as we can off of this. Your splash pans should be approximately this clean after doing your dirty wipe down. Once that's done, you're going to take your dirty throwing water and dump it into the black bins outside of the wheel throwing room. You want to make sure that you scrape all of the sludge out of the bottom and try to get as much clay from this bucket into the larger buckets out there. Next, we're going to take a 1 gallon bucket full of clean water from the sink and a big sponge. You'll also want to make sure you have a microfiber towel. We'll use this at the very end. So now we're going to take the big sponge, we're going to wring it in our bucket of water, and we're going to start wiping everything down. This does a couple of things. This prevents long lines happening at the sink. It also just helps save water generally. And by doing this, your wheel is going to get as clean as you need it to without having to ever rinse anything under the sink, as well as your tools, your bucket, everything you've used. Do the same thing for our tools and our little buckets. We're just going to wipe them down really well with this big sponge. So once everything is looking pretty clean, we are going to do one final pass over everything with our microfiber towel. Even if your microfiber towel is dirty, we're still just going to wring it out in this bucket. You're going to be like, it's not going to get clean enough. And I'm going to remind you of the early 2000s ShamWow commercials and lead you to trust that it will in fact get clean enough. If it is really dirty, just wring it out a couple of times. So then you'll want to wring it out really well, get as much of that water out as you can. And we're going to do one final pass over everything. This is going to get off that last little bit of clay, and also it will get off the residue that will show up only once the wheel has dried. So if you only wipe everything down with a sponge, once it's dry, it will have kind of this gross film all over it. And so this will just help take that off and just help give just to help keep your wheel clean for the next person who's going to use it.
A quick side note, while editing this, I forgot to say what you do with your 1 gallon buckets, and those you can just dump down the sink.
Once your wheel is completely clean, we're going to reset it for the next person. So to do this, we're going to take our stool, put it upside down on the wheel head. You'll take the pedal, and put this up on the little table, and then you'll also have to make sure that your wheel is off. Our last step is to mop the floor, and then we're good to go.